Hello.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We're back with our Friday Philosophies. And have I got a good one for you, Wallace? Why? Why are we doing this? Well, because, at Holisticism, we're just trying to show you different ways of doing things. Basically, that there's always a more creative way to get what you want. And I love studying frameworks and mental models because they provide me a new lens through which to see my problems and to see my world and to try and make sense of it. And they also help me see maybe the areas that I'm not aware of, like what we might call our blind spots, and draw attention to them. And the point of sharing these frameworks that we're going to dive into every Friday is to shake up your perspective and maybe give you inspiration to do things differently or approach your problems from a different angle or perspective. Some might say take a paradoxical move, and hopefully they'll inspire you. Everyone, we're doing Pharrell. Well, so what do you know about Pharrell?
He was one of my first crushes as a kid.
Yes. Do you remember like when you saw him, where you saw him?
It was definitely when he was part of Nerd, and I don't know, I just love that album, that first album. I'm trying to remember which music video it was where I was like, who dat? Skateboarding, rapping, musical talent.
I'm a sucker for a guy with the board,
Yeah, yeah. And oh my, has he evolved?
He certainly has. So Pharrell Williams has 13 Grammys because he's worked with, like Wallace said, he started out doing Nerd, and he's also produced and worked with and written songs for Jay-Z, Tyler the Creator, tons of other artists. And he's a songwriter. He's an entrepreneur. He has By Humankind. He's a philanthropist. He's everything. He's also super hot. Like he's like not from this planet. He's so hot.
Yeah.
I really have always loved Pharrell, but he became like God level for me when I saw that Maggie Rogers video.
Oh, I've rewatched that recently.
Me too, and I cried.
Wait, that's so cute.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, just Google Pharrell and Maggie Rogers. Basically, Maggie Rogers was discovered by Pharrell at in an NYU class because he came in for recorded music and was like listening to all of their songs that they'd made. And so he listens to her whole song in silence. The camera is recording them, and she's sitting next to him and he's sitting next to her, and they're like listening to her song out loud, and she's kind of bopping her head, and you keep seeing her like jet her eyes to the side to see if he's like vibing on it. And you kind of can't really read his face. He's kind of reacting to the music, but not a ton, not like effusively. And it gives me chills thinking about it. At the end, he says, like, I have no notes. He basically is just like, this is incredible. And you can just tell that both of them are so, like, they're just such true artists. And Pharrell is so pure in that video. And just like, I think it takes a really humble person to look at like a 19-year-old when you're an incredible producer and be like, that was one of the best songs I've ever heard. And not be like, well, I have some notes and things I would change because, I'm the expert. Just like, that was really good and incredible. Like, I want to work with you. That video is amazing. Like, my nipples are hard because I have chills. It's so good.
It's really incredible. It's true. And it shows what humility he has.
100%.
Yeah.
When I was researching him, that was the through line was just his humility and also his awareness. He also talks a lot about awareness. And okay, I have a theory that Pharrell has done a shit ton of psychedelics because everything that he talks about is like the man is connected. The man has gone to therapy.
Yes. He's done the work.
He is doing the work. He has done the work. And he constantly stresses that to be a creative person, you have to be multifaceted and you have to try lots of things and you have to fail. There's a lot of like interesting philosophies, but let's talk about his morning routine because he has a very specific morning routine.
And that's why we're here.
And that is why we are here. So he is habit hole or morning glory. He's a morning glory. He's a morning person. He might be a nighttime person too, but he's definitely a morning person. So first thing he does, he actually has a couple of answers throughout his interviews, but it sounds like he kind of does two things. He says, when I wake up, before I wake up, I spend 20 to 30 minutes with my eyes closed. I lay there, and that's where I solve a lot of issues, and sometimes I write. Other times I have epiphanies. I have my breakthroughs. So before he gets started, he sits in silence. And then pretty consistently, he says, I wake up at 5 a.m., I do crunches, I do a plank, and then I do a 20-mile bike ride. Just one plank. It's like, how long though? Is it like a 10-minute plank? Because you're riding 20 miles. That's that's long.
Long.
And then I love this about him. He's a bath girl. He says, I take a 30-minute Epsom salt bath, hot Epsom salt bath, and then I get a 10-minute cold shower. 10 minutes in a cold shower.
You don't need that.
I was like, whoa, sounds horrible.
He's like, and ready to fucking go.
Seriously. Yeah. Who needs Red Bull? And he says that he does not listen to music in the morning. God damn it. This man is smart, and he is on a dopamine fast because he doesn't listen to music. He just goes, he vibes. And this is what he says. No music, silence. How can the day speak to you if you're already playing music? How can your intuition speak to you? How can inspiration speak to you if you're already playing music? Silence is the absence of sound for a reason. Water is the essence of wetness. No, silence is the absence of sound for a reason. It leaves space for ideas and inspiration. You know what's so funny? Silence, darkness, and zero all serve the same purpose. It's not a color. It's not nothing. It's not really silence. What is it? What it is the opportunity for intuition to make something. Silence is a void. It makes room for sound or inspiration to come through. It's the same thing for color. That's why black is magic. Black is so magical because black is a mixture of all the colors, but it's also a void to give you color. White is the absence of color. Okay, Pharrell.
I mean, the man is a spiritual G.
He is, okay, so he is spiritual. In one interview I read, he was talking about how this is the age of Aquarius and we need to be tapped into our intuition. Yeah. And I think the big takeaway from his morning routine is like intuition needs to intuit. Like it needs space. You can't turn the volume up and be distracted. Like to be a creative person, you need to prioritize your intuition and honing it from the physical to the metaphysical practice to the intellectual practice. You got to do it. Okay. The next thing. I will say the one weird thing about Pharrell is that he does not drink anything but water. He only drinks water.
That's such a puritanical move. I'm like,
he's a little extreme in that way.
I'm immediately filled with kind of rage and envy. Yeah. Like, are you crazy? Yeah. You're missing out on all the fun drinks of life.
Yeah. Not a beverage girly, which, okay, to each their own.
As in, like, that is the only beverage he drinks?
Yes, he said it's the only thing that he drinks. I read an article where he was saying, I've been trying this thing for about 6 months where the only thing I drink is water. And I feel amazing. I'm so clear. I just feel incredible. So
constantly on a water fast. Not sure
I think
how
he's eating, but no Diet Coke for Pharrell, no triple matcha latte,
I was
milk, like skim cap, whipped cream, nothing like that. None of that shit.
I mean, power to him.
Yeah, it's a bit weird though. I mean, it's probably good for you, but it's a bit weird.
It makes me think of that Tara Brach quote, or no, she tells a story. I don't know if it's her quote, where she's like, if you can wake up without any like pep pills, if you can go to sleep without any sleep aid, if you can work at 100 all day with no coffee, then you're probably a dog.
I like that.
It's much better when she says it and it's longer, but that's the general gist. And I'm like, Pharrell, what's happening? Anyways, that's cool.
Like
cool
that.
for him. Cool for him.
Yeah, hey, it works for him. Also, Pharrell's very spiritual. Very, very spiritual. He says that consistently he owes his creativity to God. He says if he had the entire world's population at one time, what would he say? God is the greatest. And that God is the universe. And he says, if I had the opportunity to have everyone listen to one thing, I would give that glory to the universe. So he kind of uses God and universe interchangeably. Give thanks to the universe all the time. God is the greatest. And that's what I mean about humility. Like he constantly is referring to his success as not his success. And like, he even has a quote where he says, I don't want to force, but the power like that comes from people, that's the universe. That ain't me. There is an agreement made somewhere and I'm not fully responsible for that. That the people you see fucked up out here, it's when shit changed for them and they can't understand what happened. They used to be in control and then they realize they don't have control. That's because you never had it. what you had was an agreement with people, but you took them for granted and now they don't fuck with you and you don't know how to deal with it. And you lost your mind, lost your life. You lost your self-worth because you had it measured the wrong way the entire time. And I don't. I'm very clear.
Okay. Truth bombs.
Okay. Listen, I love that specifically. There's an agreement made somewhere that I'm not fully responsible for that. That like universe put me on, or God, whomever put me here. We made a contract. Someone made a contract and I'm just here like vibing it out, you know?
Wow.
Big God guy is what I wrote in my notes.
God guy. Him and God besties.
Yeah.
I did see also that he said his best friends are bishops. They're gifted with the ability to prophesize.
That's cool. You know what? I want to be friends with people who prophesize.
Yeah.
I am.
I feel like you are. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I am too. I really like that he is a reader and he's a self-proclaimed highly sensitive person and mentions that he wants to sponge up as much as he possibly can. So he does a ton of esoteric reading and that it matters who he hangs out with. Like you said, his friends are bishops. They're the people that prophesize and see the future. And I think that honestly, Pharrell probably is a boundary king.
Yeah.
He knows who he doesn't fuck with. He knows when he's at his capacity and he keeps his side of the road clean. And I appreciate that about him.
He seems very boundary. Do you think he's hard to get close to as a friend?
No, I don't.
No? Okay.
I think the fact that he's like very upfront and knows who he is means that like if he likes you, he'll let you in. And if he doesn't, he's like, whatever. We're not on the same wavelength and that's cool. He seems like a gentle person, like a hardworking but gentle person to me, like on the inside.
He does seem very gentle.
I didn't look up his astrology, but I probably should. Today's podcast episode is sponsored by Oura Ring. Okay, I have to admit, when I first found out about the Oura Ring, I was skeptical because I don't know if I'm a quantifiable girly. You know what I mean? Like, MyFitnessPal wasn't great for my mental health in the early aughts, but I ended up buying an Oura Ring for my dad because I'm kind of like constantly worried about his health. I want him to live forever. So I bought one for him for Christmas a few years ago, and he influenced me to get my own. I just loved how inspired he was to take care of himself and how he would send me his results every day after he hit his step goal or, got an optimal amount of sleep. I got my Oura Ring when I found out I was pregnant, and it really, really supported me in ways that I couldn't even imagine, honestly, throughout my pregnancy. And one of the things I love about it is that it's like a nicer health coach. Like, I thought that my Oura Ring was going to tell me that I was like being a lazy slob. In reality, it doesn't do that. It actually tells me when to take it slower and to maybe take a nap. And yeah, like maybe you can push yourself today, or you know what? You pushed yourself pretty hard in your workout yesterday. Today's a good day to rest and chill and maybe meditate. I love the Oura Ring so much, and I was lucky enough to join a couple of my friends in Aura's latest feature. You can check out my mention on Oura Ring's blog. And if you want to learn more about the Oura Ring or get one for yourself, I highly recommend it. I have the gold, like totally circular band. There's a couple different band styles. I love it. It looks beautiful next to my wedding and engagement ring. And honestly, you wouldn't even know it's a fitness tracker. It's pretty chic. So if you're curious, now's a great time to invest in yourself and your health and grab yourself an Oura Ring. I think you're going to love it.
I have a question. Because we know he's not a matcha or a coffee guy.
Just going to say.
Is he like a pizza or a spaghetti guy?
Oh, is he a pizza, a pasta, or a rigatoni?
Yeah.
I think that he's
neither.
Yeah, right. I think he's probably a pizza person. What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like he's giving me macrobiotic bowl vibes. But I don't know put him in a box.
But yeah. No, you're right. Like Suin.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. In the land of V to P, Virgo to Pisces, where does he land?
I think he's like Capricorn. Not quite Virgo, like type A necessarily. Well, but he's super into God, so maybe he's more on the Pisces side. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe he's Aquarius.
He does give off Aquarius vibes, but he's got some earth placements, I feel like. He seems very grounded.
Right. And he's like very physical. You know, it seems like the physical body is like a pathway to intuition and spirituality for him.
Definitely.
So, okay, interesting. So he's like he's leaning more towards Pisces side, but he's still like, you know, Aquarius energy.
Yeah. I feel like I read he was an Aquarius somewhere.
Now we gotta look it up.
Surprise.
He is. Wow. Okay. Listen, he's Aries sun.
Whoa, not what we expected.
I know. Taurus moon, Mercury Pisces.
What do you take from this?
I think it totally makes sense that the way that he communicates is like speaking in a very spiritual manner. And his Pisces, his Mercury is in his 12th house, just like this podcast.
Ooh, okay. Surprising.
That's kind of cool. I'm kind of down with that.
I feel like he embodies so many archetypes because, to your point, he's like, you got to be nimble. You have to experiment. You have to be a multifaceted artist.
It's true.
So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. What's his archetype, sun, moon, and rising? We know his astrology.
Sun, I feel like, I mean, he's not a total hermit, but he's not really in the public eye.
Yes. He's sort of ascetic. Like
yes.
Someone who kind of like only drinks water.
Yes.
And
yes. That is his sun.
I feel like he's a shapeshifter, maybe like rising, because he's always showing up in a new place, doing something new. Also, he's so fashion forward.
So fashion. What is the most fashionable archetype?
Probably the fashion person.
The fashionista archetype. Yeah. I think he has a moon in fashionista. Trendsetter moon. I mean, he is.
Yeah, trendsetter.
For sure.
Ooh, yeah, trendsetter. I like that. And he seems like a proper artist, you know, like someone who's just here to make and do, and like that's their number one thing.
And transcend the word of God. He's a God man.
He's God guy. Big God guy.
Big God guy.
I like that. I feel like we don't hear enough people talking about like God and universe.
I mean, God for me is not the word, but universe is the word. So when used interchangeably, I get it.
Yeah. Sometimes I use the word spirit. Sometimes I just use the word energy, you know?
Exactly.
Sometimes I say the vibes.
The vibras.
Yeah. The vibras made me do it, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be an acolyte of Pharrell? Would you adopt his lifestyle?
Lifestyle. I mean, the water thing is hard.
Okay. That would be definitely the hardest thing. Do I want to bike 20 miles? Like,
could make it happen.
But I could, you know, I've been known to exercise. Yeah. I would acolyte for a while. I would see if his process works. I think one thing I will definitely take away from this is just laying in silence. And doing more silence in the morning, because I like a podcast. I like some tunes, and I like to talk.
Ethan, hello. Let's go. I'm ready to chat.
Like, Rhodes, wake up. Let's talk about things. So yeah, I'm like, maybe I need a little more silence in my life. I don't know. What about you?
I really thought you were going to say the 10-minute cold shower. I thought that was the thing for you.
God, no. That makes me nauseated just thinking about it. Oh.
Well, I really also like the getting up and being physically active. I like that he does a plank. Just one. But I feel the immediate clarity or the immediate difference in my mental clarity if I even just go for a walk. Totally. It doesn't have to be anything vigorous or intense. And I go in and out of a morning physical activity routine because I probably overcomplicate it. But I really love that he starts that way and then everything else follows.
I have a tendency to overdo it when I exercise in the morning.
Yeah.
So that I'm like totally cashed for the rest of my day. It's like, maybe just like take it back a little bit. Maybe we don't need to pull up Pharrell and go 20 miles, right?
No.
Maybe it's just a jaunty little walk down to get my matcha.
There you go.
Or just maybe some heel rocks, you know, just a little bit of movement in the body. Maybe 5 minutes of Tai Chi or something, you know? It doesn't have to be crazy.
Do a little stretch. I've been trying to stretch more. I feel like he seems like a guy who stretches.
What kind of stretches are you doing? Are you doing toe touches? Are you doing some yogams? Like, what are you doing?
I do go to yoga once a week, but I'm not into yoga. I
can't go to yoga anymore. I just like, it makes me mad now. I don't know why.
It's just because it's really close. And it's hot yoga, so I feel like I went to a sauna.
Hot yoga's different. Yeah. It's like, for some reason I can get through a hot yoga class that's not hot.
And it's just this one teacher. I'm not going for anyone else. It's just, that's it.
Nice.
But otherwise, I'm just trying to stretch more in general, like before bed to relax my body, or in the morning, just, I don't know, I guess I've been feeling tight. I'm like, I'm getting old.
Yeah, the hips, they're not as limber as they used to be.
But stretching is also just good for, I mean, I don't need to tell you this, but I feel like even just maintaining your like physicality, that you don't have to be always working it out. You could just be stretching it out.
It's true.
Well, Pharrell has left us inspired, to say the
Totally
least.
inspired. Now I'm also like, I kind of want to go buy Humankind skincare stuff.
I am curious. I'm like, he couldn't make a bad product. He wouldn't stand behind it.
That's exactly how I feel after reading all of it, like researching him. I'm like, I'll buy anything that he makes.
Whatever you say, we hail.
Also, I did leave out that like for many of these morning routines, he was like, and then I used my skincare. I wash my face every day and I use this scrub. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
He also happens to have just great skin.
Right. It's like one of those things where you're like, okay, but do you look like that because of the skincare or because you're just like a gift from God?
Yes. I mean, he is a God boy, as we've discussed. Directly from the source. Made manifest in human form. Well, what do you think of Pharrell's routine? Is he too extreme? He might be.
No, you know what? I like commitment. I like that.
You need it.
And also he's like he's not young. He's like been around. He's found his routine. He knows what works for him. And I really like that.
Stand up guy. Respect.
Yeah, what about you? You into it?
I'm into it. I'm into him. Still here.
Never left.
Yeah. Still into it. Guys, thanks for listening.
That was a fun one. Now I just want to go watch that Maggie Rogers video. We should link it below.
I'm 100% going to go and watch it right now.
You know what I will do?
What?
I'll put it in the newsletter.
Ooh. Which, if you were not subscribed, what you doing?
What are you doing?
Every Tuesday and Friday.
Educate yourself. Get on the newsletter.
Link in the show notes. It's a good time. It's a good ride. Lots of fun information, but also I feel it stimulates all the senses. It's not just a regular.
Tuesday is portals. Friday is the Friday 5. Just 5 fun things.
Portals and Friday 5. So we will see you on Tuesday with more podcast, and then on Friday with more philosophies.
That's it. We love you. See you on Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.
The 12th House is produced by yours truly, Wallace Miller Blanchard. Our theme music is made by Nathan McKay, and our wonderful editing is done by Softer Sound Studios, who you can find more information about in our show notes.